I'm Marisol Foucault, and today we're preparing a beet salad. Salads don't need to be boring. So today we will be making a salad with beets and Brussels sprouts, apples, walnuts, and some sprouted lentils. You'll see this is a very colorful salad. You can also do the dressing in advance, and you can do a ton of dressing because this dressing can be very versatile for other recipes. And also on top of your salad, a nice crunch. So the key to a great salad is to have lots of textures. I love also having hot and cold, and you can have crunchy and soft. So today we'll be opting for crunchy and soft. Let's start with the walnuts. You can substitute walnuts, pretty much any other nut that you have that you love, that you have available at home. Pumpkin seed would be great for this, and it's also a less expensive alternative. So if you're looking for seeds, you can do pumpkin seed, sunflower seed. That will add a nice crunch to your salad. But today we are using walnut because walnut and beet are my favorite together. So 1 cup of walnut. I've pre-roasted these just a tiny bit. I will add some honey. So all honeys are not equal. We are using today some raw honey. I've chosen some buckwheat honey because it's really tasty. So general rule, the darker the honey I find is tastier. So buckwheat is like the top of the top that you could have for like really tasty honey. Also, this is raw honey. So I don't know if you can see, it's solidified. Your raw honey will change shape as it ages. So in the beginning, it'll be all nice and liquid, and the more you age it, the more solid it becomes. I'm using about 1 huge tablespoon of honey. So also we had some nice honeydew. If you can get your hands on this, this is really amazing. Honeydew is really tasty as well. So buckwheat or honeydew, but if you only have like normal honey at home, use it. Also some salt, because sweet and salty is an amazing combo, and it'll surprise people who will eat your salad, or you'll surprise yourself just snacking on this before it even gets to the salad. About 1 teaspoon of salt on your nuts, or a bit less. So you can always add salt at the end, so better to just add a bit less. Because my honey is solid right now, just send this off in the oven. Once you see the honey has melted, you can mix it. We'll leave it in the oven for about 20 minutes, so keep an eye on it. When to know when this is ready in your oven. So you can put a timer on for about 20 minutes at 325. And you'll see that your honey will bubble really fast in the beginning, and then it'll start bubbling really slower, and also it'll darken. And you'll see that your nuts will be nice and golden brown. So you can either eye it or trust the timer. So in the oven, these go. I've pulled the walnuts out of the oven and I've let them cool. The reason why we want these to cool before breaking them up is, well, we want to be able to touch them. And also the honey will have solidified. So you see that you have like this nice crackling, like this looks delicious. So like nice salty honey walnuts. So this will be your topping. You can either chop it up or just break it with your hands. I like breaking it with my hands because I like people to know and see what they're eating. But if you don't want large chunks, well, you chop it up. Also, it keeps better if you just do it with your hands. If you're chopping it up, don't do it too far in advance because it'll all stick together as one big clump. So there you go, our little honey nuts. And let's start the salad. We start with beets because this is a beet salad. So I boiled my beets. You can either boil your beets or put them in the oven. I find that if I do them in the oven, they do have amazing flavor, but they shrink a lot and they look like that shrunken head from Beetlejuice. So I'd rather boil them so they keep their shape. It's really nice and easy when you boil your beets to peel them. You can do it with your hands or gloves if you don't want red hands. So let me show you this trick. So nice and easy, you'll just pull off the skin from your beets. And you'll have this really nice beet shape, and it's all clean. So if you have really, really small beets, it makes for a really nice salad because they keep their shape. So I don't know if you can see how nice these are. And it got peeled in a few seconds. So we can do this whole pot really fast and then chop them. We have nice smooth beets, and I will cut these into small-ish dice. It's time to practice your knife skills and do some nice cuts with your apples and beets. I try to do about the same size for both. So, and I will put these in my bowl right away. So the recipe calls for 4 beets, but if your beets are smaller, have more. If you love beets, have more beets. We love beets. So apples. I chose green apples because I like the fact that they are tart and tangy, and it really balances like the earthiness of the beet. And also it's really nice, like it's a really nice color contrast in your salad. And I am cubing up the apple about the same size as the beet. That is your goal. I'll be chopping some Brussels sprouts. One thing I like to do with Brussels sprouts is that I like to keep the outer leaves that would just fall naturally once you've cut the bottom of it. And I'll set these aside because they'll add volume to your salad, and also they look really pretty. So to try and cut Brussels sprouts thinly, you can just lay it on the bottom so that it's stable. And once you've cut about half, or once you feel it's not as stable, you can just turn it on its side and slice really thinly. Watch your fingers, and a really sharp knife is a good idea for this so that it doesn't slip and you have really thin slices of Brussels sprout. So even people who don't like Brussels sprout will like Brussels sprout in this recipe. If you have a crazy aversion to Brussels sprouts, just do cabbage. Let's make dressing. I like a balance of sweet and sour in my dressing. So I always have maple syrup on hand, and I'll add about 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. I'd say about a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Some olive oil. Maybe, let's count, 1/2 cup, 3/4 cup. When we taste it, we'll see the balance. It depends if you have also a very tasty olive oil or if you have one that is really light tasting. So you can adjust whatever measures you want for your vinegar, your maple syrup, and your olive oil. I also like the zippy, spicy taste of ginger, so I'm adding a bit of ginger to my dressing. This is ginger that I pickled. You can also use grocery store pickled ginger, just slice it really thinly. So I'm adding some of the juice and about 1 teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons of ginger. And lemon zest. So you can either use a microplane or a bar zester. I love to use a bar zester because we see the zest in the salad and it makes for a beautiful salad. So I will zest 1 whole lemon. And last but not least, a tiny bit of salt. You can adjust your salt once you've tossed the whole salad. And I'll mix this lightly. And I'll add a tiny bit more maple syrup. So if ever you are serving this salad right away, you can put the dressing right into your salad bowl. Your beets will pickle in the dressing, which is really nice. Next step is adding some sprouted lentils. So I love to sprout things. It's like little babies at home, and I take care of my sprouts. So every morning and every afternoon or evening, I'll water my sprouts. I'll change the water in my bowls, and I always have some on the go. So I brought today, I had mung beans that I started 2 days ago, and you can see that they're just starting to sprout. And these lentils I started 4 days ago. So you see that they're really nice and sprouted. And you see my red hands from the beets. So you see that, like here, it's really nice and sprouted. So take care of your sprouts. Rinse them twice a day in warm water, and also ensure that they're not in too warm a spot because, you know, like fuzz will start growing and you don't want that. You don't want to eat those. Once they're sprouted, you can keep them in the fridge for about 3 days. So different lentils or seeds take different time. Experiment with them or read up on them. But for the salad today, we are using lentils. These are some of my favorites. And also, lentils have really great health benefits. So I will put some of these on. And right after, I'll salt them. And what makes a great salad even better? Herbs. I love adding fresh herbs. I always add a ton of them. And also, I don't chop them. I like to keep my herbs really nice and long. So what I'll do is I'll usually pick them. So just pick from the stem and add my herbs and just go at it with my hands, adding herbs on top. So I have dill and mint today, which is really fresh. So you'll have a lot of freshness in this salad. You have the earthiness of the beets and earthiness of the lentils. You have like the tang of the green apple, the freshness of all the herbs, and we'll be adding those honey walnuts that will add a nice crunch to our salad. The finishing touch, the honey salted walnuts. So I'll be just crunching these over our salad right before we serve it, right? So don't add the walnuts too far in advance because you want them to stay really nice and crunchy. So this is a beautiful salad to wow your guests. Bring it to the next potluck or make it for the next dinner that you have at home. You're sure to impress guests. Enjoy and bon appétit.